with Michigan coming up with a win 30-10 against Fresno State in their season opener. But it was touch and go there. And I had to ask myself a couple of times, am I seeing things, or is Will Johnson getting torched by something called Jalen Moss? Because that's what was happening. 6 catches, 97 yards for the Fresno State Bulldog. And of course, yes, Will Johnson had the pick 6 to seal it. But let's be honest about this. As the defending national champs, you shouldn't be needing to seal a damn thing against Fresno State in the season opener. And you should probably have your head coach locked up for the rest of the year, if nothing else. And that's kind of where I want to have this conversation, start this conversation around Michigan as we talk about them getting the win, them keeping up their end, if you will, before they're supposed to host Texas in what is going to be a top 10 matchup that we're all looking forward to. And we've been looking forward to basically since the season ended, when both of those programs finished in the college football playoff. Michigan, of course, winning the national championship. Texas winning its first conference championship in over a decade and making its first trip to the college football playoff. And they looked the part. Meanwhile, Sherrone Moore, USA Today reported, is working without a contract, which I thought was kind of interesting as you're going to do the first game of the season. So according to USA Today, more than 7 months ago, after they hire him and they announced the deal that's going to be 5 years, worth about $6 million annually, he still hadn't signed a contract, like a formally, fully guaranteed, fully executed contract. And yet still they're working under a memorandum of understanding, or an MOU in the parlance of the legalese, that he signed back in January when it was be clear that he was going to be the next head coach at Michigan. And as USA Today reported, the document outlined some of the basic parameters of Moore's future deal, including salary figures and bonus provisions, but it lacks some of the specifics and legalese that often serves as the backbone of a coaching contract, such as the circumstances in which Moore, who is facing potential punishment from the NCAA as part of the investigation into an alleged sign-stealing operation, and could be fired for cause. That's an interesting way to look at this, because while the University of Michigan has the notice of allegations that they received a week ago about what they believe Michigan had done, along with sign stealing is not the crime here, advanced video scouting, lying about it, cheating, that's the crime here. And it looked, for all that we're watching against Michigan, Fresno State, that it looked like Fresno State was actually in a dogfight with a very good Michigan Wolverines program. And all the jokes were, where's Connor Stallions, right? I think even Maurice Claret threw out a tweet out there that was Wolverine petting the photograph of Connor Stallions. And that's perfect because, Michigan is the Wolverines and Logan is a Wolverine, yada, yada, yada. But that's an interesting place to have this conversation, because if I'm the head coach of the University of Michigan, and while you might not care, I damn sure care, the first black head coach at the University of Michigan, I would like to see my contract fully executed. And to their credit, Michigan has told USA Today, hey, we're working on this with his representative, and we hope to have this thing resolved pretty quick, fast, in a hurry. Moore's agent told USA Today, no comment, right? They just did not respond to any of this. I think once you figure out what the NCAA thinks it has and what the NCAA thinks its punishment is going to be, then you are going to try to come up with a way to either refute this if you are Michigan, fight this over the course of 90 days, and then figure it out. But in limbo is Sherrone Moore, right? Like, we've already seen the NCAA give Jim Harbaugh a show cause 4 years for lying about recruiting violations that amount to little to nothing. Like, it's not the recruiting violation so much as it is the lying about what you did and how you did it. And this is all around a Michigan football program that is 15-0 last year and is off to a 1-0 start in 2024 with this win against Fresno State. Again, it's 16-10, and Fresno State feels like they got a shot here at Michigan Stadium against a top 10 team. And this is with Davis Warren as a starting quarterback. Many folks inside of Michigan got word later this week that Alex Orji was not going to be the guy, but that it was Davis Warren. And some folks were like, hey, you might see some Alex Orji. Both ended up being correct here. Alex Orji didn't start the game, but it was very clear that they wanted to get him involved because his ability as a runner is just unparalleled, so much so that when they got into the red zone area, they let that dude throw the first TD pass. But it was clear to me that Davis Warren has Sherrone Moore and Kirk Campbell's confidence in running the offense. He got to throw the most passes. He played the most plays behind center. And frankly, it looked not unlike it might look if Cade McNamara was still the quarterback at Michigan. You're dinking, you're dumping, you're not pushing the ball down the field, but you are also putting Wink Martindale's defense in a position to go make some plays. That said, seeing Will Johnson, who is supposed to be the next Charles Woodson, get cooked like yesterday's brisket, getting fried like bacon in a skillet, it's not exactly what you want to see. Again, the pick six is there. I get it. He's athletic. He can make up for some of his mistakes. But when you got short, fast dudes that are able to twist you around and get by you, that's not what Charles Woodson would allow as the number one corner at the University of Michigan and at the top of Dane Bugler's NFL draft board at The Athletic. Like he's the best available in the 2025 draft ahead of guys like, I don't know, Carson Beck at Georgia for starters, right? Shedeur Sanders at Colorado, Travis Hunter at Colorado. We can keep going down the list here. I'm really interested to see how this continues to unfurl because Texas got to feel good about what they saw against Fresno State, especially for what they put on tape against Colorado State, which wasn't a lot. And they still put up 52 points in their win. The last thing I thought was interesting about this part of Michigan's offensive plan is we're still not getting what we said we should be getting from Donovan Edwards for the last 3 years. Like, it's a man that is on the cover of EA Sports' College Football 25, which is the most successful sports video game of the last decade, and continues to break records because we've been thirsty about this game for so long. And I'll need to underscore here, name, image, and likeness exists because this game went away. That is how powerful this game is. We were so overjoyed that the NCAA finally decided to relent on players making money from their name, image, and likeness that we just wanted to play this game. And what you got out of all of that is a fundamental shift in how college football teams are formed. You will pay the most money to get the best players now because this video game went away. And Edwards is one of the 3 players on the front of it. And he ain't the best tailback in his own tailback room right now. Like, I'm really looking at this going, how does Khalil Mullins not believe that he is RB1 after this game? He had 15 for 92. Donovan Edwards had 11 for 27. Donovan Edwards also didn't do damn near a damn thing in the regular season last year. All of the yards that he mostly accumulated were in the postseason, particularly against Washington National Championship game, which is great if you get to the national championship game. But as far as I'm concerned, 7 is supposed to be the engine that powers Michigan. He still might be, but he wasn't tonight. And I would want to know what that means for me if my last name is Mullins, okay? That's not long and the short of that. Does this Michigan team feel like the kind that can beat Texas? Not to me. Not right now. And I thought that there would have been great reason to underestimate Texas, if you will, because they went into this first game without 2 of their 3 best tailbacks. And it did not matter. Jaden Blue, got it. Trey Wisner, got it. Quinn Ewers, got it. Silas Bolden looked good. Like, they got dudes on both sides of the ball. And again, they did what they're supposed to do to Colorado State. They shut them out and they put up 52. That's what I wanted to see Michigan do against Fresno State. That's what you're supposed to do against a Mountain West team. That's what you're supposed to do when you have them at your stadium in a season opener. And certainly that's what you're supposed to do when it is your first opportunity as a head coach to lay down the law. Okay? That's what I would expect from them. I'm also looking at Texas has got to feel better about its quarterback situation than Michigan. Hello. Quinn Ewers is one thing, right? Davis Warren is one thing. But seeing Arch Manning get in there, get game, and look good is something else entirely. Okay? Arch Manning out there making playground throws to wide receivers for his first TD of the game. And everybody's over the moon about him getting in there, but it's not a guy that's out of place. Not even a little bit. Everybody at Texas feels like they know what they're doing. They know what they want to do. And because of that, I'm giving them an edge going into this weekend. Like this next weekend, it feels like it's Texas's to lose, and they could go up to Michigan and be the first team to beat them at Michigan Stadium since 2020. And that will really shake up the math for the top 25. Even now, I'm having to rethink my number 1 team based on what I saw from Ohio State, what I saw from Georgia. But I'm not having to rethink whether or not Texas is any good. I know Texas is good. Michigan, you still got something you got to show me. And while I'm not interested in doubting the kids, because the kids seem not to care. They go out and get W's. You get a W against Texas, we'll treat it that way, right? You'll beat a really good football team as far as I'm concerned. And that might be the best you got to show me until November 30th. Full stop, right? But the days of you being able to cakewalk through your non-conference schedule are definitely over. You're getting scared by Fresno State, and that's just not something that's supposed to happen to the defending national champion Michigan Wolverines. Let's take a look at the chat.